people. How you doing? I know it's kind of late. I'm coming to you right now. It's like 10:08 right here, probably 9 o'clock somewhere else, other places. But just wanted to be able to definitely get back on here and share. Like I tell you guys before, it's not just a journey that I'm on, but the wealth building process of what I am going to be doing. Not just for myself, but for my family as well. Excuse me, I definitely sweat a lot. Sorry. But what I want to definitely share with you is for those of you who are up and tune in to the live is the process of real estate, but also the networking that goes around it, and just how sometimes we look at these real estate shows, these property shows and stuff like that, and what we see is kind of like the glitter and the glamour of everything, but we don't see the whole process of everything that's being done. So I'm doing this on Facebook Live and at the same time doing it on my YouTube channel. Um, you can catch that with Dewan. Oh my God, Dewan, the Hood Investor, Brian. Because that's one of the things I definitely believe in is not just buying back the hood, as we have Jay Morrison, Erica, she's also in there. Andre Hatchett also, catch him on YouTube, but also being an investor in the hood because we have that concept that the hood is a bad place, but actually the hood is a rich place. We just fail to turn back around and reinvest in the places where we grew up at because we feel like it's a bad place or it's crime rate and things like that, but that's not the fact. The fact is that we missed out on millions of dollars because we do not take it seriously. We do not understand the value that we have in real estate that's in our neighborhoods or in our communities. So I'm just gonna know if people want to comment. That's great. I think I got the comments on. Let me know if you can comment or not. But at the same time, questions or concerns or anything that people want to like I say, when I talk, it's like an open forum. I don't mind taking questions. I don't mind people putting chiming in on their own 2 cents because I think it's great. Hey, Auntie, how you doing? But one thing we fail to do sometimes, man, we fail to understand and look at the process of wealth. And talking to a lot of people and different people, what I begin to understand is that there's definitely a process that comes with building wealth. A process will come with not just building it, but sustaining it and passing that wealth on to their children, to their family members. So, a lot of things we get nervous about. We get nervous about when it comes to something that we're not used to. We get nervous, even myself, sometimes we get a little uncomfortable with things. But one thing we have to understand is that if you're renting a place, understand that you're paying somebody else's wealth. And nothing wrong. Some people are going to be renters their whole life. Some people are going to rent, and there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with renting. Some people will be the owners. There's nothing wrong with being an owner. But one thing I keep stressing and telling, especially African American men and women, and minorities, is that the process of us owning is how we begin to not change just our situation, but we begin to change situations around us. We begin to understand that ownership is an investment that goes long term. And the prime examples is that if you work for a place, you don't own the business, but you go work there. We can look at GM. What GM has done, GM is whoever owns GM is a family. They lay off 15,000 workers. Those workers don't have a job anymore. But GM itself is going to keep going. Why? Because the family is ownership. The people work for them, but the family's ownership. And it goes in that kind of like that same process, man. I know. First of all, I want to say this that what I talk about isn't very exciting. It isn't very exciting to people. Sometimes I gotta say, who doesn't understand the open mindedness of ownership, but yet you giving your dollars into ownership. For people who go and buy Jordans, you don't own Jordan, but you buy $150, $200 pair of Jordans, but you're making Michael Jordan richer, right? People who buy, just different products, or whatever. It's the ownership. Who owns that product? Yeah, you bought the product, but until you buy the product, you don't own it, right? And it goes like the same thing, man. We're talking about real estate. How many of us can think back years of renting? I'm 39 years old, and I can think about renting my whole adult life so far. I've been renting. Now I'm in the process of pushing this last year of networking. And the last year I've been pushing is just to get information, to understand the whole process of real estate, from wholesaling to investing to flipping to buy and hold, to all those things right there. Because what I do understand is this: is that if you own it, you're the owner of your own land. And like one of the brothers say, Andre Hatch said, own to be owned. And if you don't own, then you're going to be buying into somebody else's ownership, making them wealthier. If you don't own, you're going to be renting. If you don't own, you're going to be taking money out your own pocket, more money out your pocket, and putting somebody else's wealth. There's going to be people who are not interested in owning. There are people who are not interested in what I'm talking about. People who are not interested in really bringing their financial status to a higher level. And I understand that, and I accept that a long time ago. Because I'm only going to reach a certain amount of people. I want to reach certain people who really tired of being poor, who really tired of being on a downgrade, who really tired of not having. I'm only going to reach people who really want more. And if you want more in life, I want you to take an honest just assessment and look around. Look around your neighborhood. Look around your community. How many people own homes? And when I say ownership, I mean not buying a home from the bank, but own it in some type of outright way. Just own the whole home, right? How many businesses when you're looking at a community, whatever your community is it same people of your color, your ethnicity that own those businesses, or is somebody else? And it's kind of that same process, man, that we continue not to look at and understand is that in ownership, since we're not owning our community, so we're not having we don't own the stores, we don't own the gas stations, we don't own the check cashing places. All that money that goes to these places to go out of our communities to other places. That's why I tell you about real estate. Real estate is not going anywhere because they're not making more land. And I was just talking. Okay. I'm gonna give you another example. There's a plot of land that was $10,000, right? $10,000 for this land, whatever. The guy bought it, built a house on it. The house was $300,000, but the land was $10,000. Understand what I'm saying to you? The plot of land that he bought was $10,000. He built a house that probably cost him $150,000 to buy, build, or $200,000, but it sold it for $300,000. He walked away just out of profit, 90 grand. $90,000 he walked away from when somebody bought that house. And all he bought the land for was $10,000. He did, and he continued to do that over and over and over. We don't understand what we don't understand. We don't know what we don't know. And real estate is a direct process. It's a direct connection to becoming wealthy. I don't really say rich, I say wealthy because I'll be able to pass the knowledge on to other people and give other people the same knowledge that I have and the same opportunities somebody's giving me because I think it's just that important. You see me look away as I'm on doing the YouTube live as well at the same time. But I think that our process or our biggest concern or our biggest downfall is that we don't know how much money that we have probably thrown away. And I'm gonna just share some with you guys myself. Is that the last year I done my own statements, looked at my bank statements, stuff like that, and I was like, man, I want to see where money's going, and that's why I did it for that year. I want to really see where my habits are, bad habits are, what places I can improve, and really where I'm putting my money at. And for a year, I only say for a year, just I estimated for a year, whole year, I spent $15,000 on retail and eating out, shopping and eating out, 15 grand. Now, what a person told me when I told him that was that 15 grand, you could have took $4,000 or $5,000 of that and been in probably 2 or 3 properties already. And it didn't hurt me, but what it did, it allowed me to assess myself and to say, man, if I could spend 15 grand on retail and eating out, shopping and eating out, I can take $5,000 of that and begin and really get into real estate, really get into purchasing property, really get into investing, really get into the things that I really want to do. Because one thing I understand is that since I was a kid, I realized that even my mom was renting, she was on Section 8, she was paying about $1,000 in Chicago for rent from the ages of, that I remember, from 5 until 13. So you're talking about 13 years of paying rent at $1,000 a pop, $1,000 a month. Even though it was Section 8, it was still money going to somebody else's hand. It wasn't coming into our household. So just estimate that over $12,000. You're talking about 13 years. You're talking about what? That's 123. That's 36. You're talking about $156,000 over 13 years going to somebody else's hand, and that's off of one apartment. So just think, and the person in that apartment building that we lived in, there was 12 apartments. So it's just that kind of process, man, of being able to understand real estate, being understand of being able to really truly to invest in ourselves, being an investment in ourselves, because that's important, man. It's important to be to grow. It's important to have more knowledge, but it's also important to apply that knowledge. If we want to be wealthy, we're going to have to really accept that we need to be investors. We need to start buying property. Like they had this thing in Chicago where you could buy an empty lot for $1. You just pay the back taxes on it. You know, that's just the city's trying to get rid of property, but at the same time, it's an opportunity for people to build wealth. I'm here where I'm at right now. I got with the city, and they have properties that's for like $6,000, $9,000, and you don't have to have all the money up front. You can go get it financed, and put down $600. Now you got a lot. It's that type of process. That we definitely have to change. That we think that I'll make somebody else rich, or that's not the cool thing to do. No, it is. It's the new cool thing to do is to be in ownership. The new cool mature thing to do as adults is to own. People are dying and they can't pass their children down nothing but debt. You got people putting GoFundMe's on Facebook because they can't bury their parents or they can't bury their family members. Why? Because they're not ownership. They don't have anything to own. They don't own nothing. So there's no more money coming into their household or into their pockets except what they're making every 2 weeks. And I'm gonna tell you something. Even though I retired military, even working in the military, you work for somebody, right? I don't own the military. I work for somebody, and if you work for somebody, you're a liability. Which means at any given point in time, especially in Georgia, they can lay you out. They can lay you out. They can fire you. They can walk in on Monday morning and say you're fired, and that's just it. Your job is gone. I don't care if you're making $100,000 a year or you're making $20,000 a year. You are a liability to that company, which means that at some point in time, I don't care who you are, how good you are, you top dog or whatever. Sometimes the top dogs are the first ones that go because they make the most money, and it's in that same, in that same aspect, in that same understanding, we have to be able to really start looking at investing in real estate. And this is the thing. I follow Erica Williams on Facebook, on YouTube. Tune into her. Andre Hatchett, tune to him. Jay Morrison, tune to him, and a few other people I got to remember. But in real estate, in our process or our pursuit, when it comes down to real estate, we have to understand it does not take 10, 20, 30, that much money for us to be able to start getting into it. What it is going to take is for us to have the mindset, change our mindset, and say, you know what, this $400 or $500, let me see how I can get that into real estate. And then I have a process also where you don't have to have $400, $500. You don't. You can do real estate with no money. It's called wholesaling. And I'll just tell you like this. Here's a wholesale, and like what Lorraine said, Airbnb. And that is like Airbnb is like the new hottest thing. It's blowing up everywhere. You got people literally buying properties and turn the property to Airbnb because there are so many tourists now people don't want to stay in hotels so much when they go places now, right? Because hotels are expensive. So what they say, let me go get an Airbnb. Let me stay in a hotel. Let me stay in a house or apartment where I have a bed, I have a stove, I can cook, I can have a couch where I can sit at, invite people over. People are truly blowing up Airbnbs. You're right, Lorraine. People are blowing up That's like the new hottest thing. I got people doing Airbnb. Like I'm talking to a guy right now about Airbnb. He want me to do an Airbnb with him, and I'm like, okay, that's that. I mean, I don't mind. How much is going for us to invest in it? How much we can do to get it started? We always look at if I start something, maybe 2 months, I'll be rich. No, when the process of building wealth is staying with something long term, and that's why people become wealthy is because other people jump out of it, or other people sell out, or they buy out, whatever, and the other person stay in it long term. And now you look 4 or 5 years later, that person's a millionaire and doing the same things you could have done, but just stick with it. And that's true, man. It's very lucrative. Airbnb is absolutely lucrative, and I would tell anybody, Airbnb. You can Airbnb a room in your house, a room in your apartment. You can Airbnb because people that travel or that they don't mind doing Airbnb. They want to stay someplace, and then the hospitality around it that comes with get a good person, honest person who's trustworthy, and they do an Airbnb. You got breakfast cooked for you, you got lunch cooked for you, dinner cooked for you, because they don't want other people to come into their Airbnb as well. Definitely Airbnbs. Another thing people are doing too is when you look at connexes. I know a lot of people are kind of afraid of connexes, but people are turning connexes into homes. They're not just tiny homes; they're actually a stronger structure than a lot of these what they call the siding homes you put up, right? And steel home, well, connex homes are actually stronger than brick homes, and I mean, seriously, they stronger than brick homes. So people are trying to now take connexes, build them up, and turn them into no homes. And it's like it's amazing when talking to people about real estate and just the process of building that residual income, the process of really putting that money together, the process to go along with that, how people now are looking at things and saying, you know, well, hold on a second, this is another avenue you haven't looked at. This is another thing you haven't looked at. Try looking at things this way or doing things this way. And I don't mind doing that. I have no problem doing that. But what I try to do also, I try to spread the information. I definitely try to educate other people, especially other African Americans, the people that you want to know and stuff like that, because it's not something I want to hold on to, but it's something I definitely want to share with you. We have to become and understand and train ourselves to become investors. Real estate. I don't care if it's I don't care if it's a barren lot. Buy it, invest in it. You know, taking 15 grand last year, well, this year still ain't over yet, but still 15 grand and spending 15 grand on eating out and retail. If I would have just, done some things differently, I could have took $5,000 of that and put that into something that's going to give me a return that's greater. And it's that type of, it's a wake up call. It's a wake up call. Like a person said, if you want to get into real estate, your money has to start going over here. Your habits have to start going over here. Everything you try and do has to go in this direction of real estate, because here's the thing the person told me. He said, the car they drive is a nice car, but they don't pay for it. The clothes they wear nice clothes, but they don't pay for it. They say, you know who bought this for me? My tenants bought this for me. My tenants pay my car note for me. My tenants pay my house note for me. My tenants also pay my house note that I have at a place in another state. And then also get ready to go to the Bahamas for 3 weeks. My tenants pay for me being in the Bahamas for 3 weeks and chilling out in the Bahamas for 3 weeks. My tenants pay for my paint. And it's that concept of understanding that. Listen, everybody not gonna be interested in what I'm talking about, and I understand that. But when you look at it and you really just be honest about it, who wants to continue to give more money to somebody else's pocket than they put in their own pocket? I don't care if you're making $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 a year. If you're putting $10,000 in somebody else's pocket or $5,000, you're still making somebody else richer. And there are going to be people who are not interested in being investors, owning real estate, being that, and that's okay. But if you are interested in that, not only do I want you to contact me, but I want you to begin to network with me, because I have a whole process down of how we can do this. Like I said, I'm just a kid from Chicago. Always, I'm just a kid from Chicago. At heart, I'm just a kid from Chicago. And my own honest story that I tell people is that I grew up in not the best, okay neighborhoods. I gang banged, I sold drugs, I got arrested, many times with law enforcement, back and forth. And it wasn't the greatest upbringing. I wouldn't get a 5-star for upbringing with gangs and selling drugs and stuff like that and violence. But at some point things changed for my life. I was able to do some things right, and I got into the army. Everything changed for me at that point. And now, even being older, I look at things in the way of saying, you know what, if even my family members, when I think about some of my family members who were doing some of the wrong things, the money they was making, I'm talking about, I used to have family members walking around with $2,000 and $3,000 on their pockets. If the money they was making then, they just took that money and put it in real estate. Took that money to put a long term goal. We're never thinking about the long term gain, and that's I just thought about making a commitment. I want to be on Facebook and YouTube every day talking about real estate. I went and looked at the property today, and the property I looked at, it was run down. I mean, the inside of the place has to be gutted, but in my mind, I'm thinking 5-10 years from now, 5 or 10 years from now. Not only what the landscape of the city going to be, but also the type of tenant I can put in that place once we get the loan to rehab it. That's going to be 5 or 10 year leaser, because everybody is not going to want to be an investor. Everybody don't want to be a landlord. Some people don't just want to rent and go about their way. In that understanding, it comes along with the networking process. A lot of people that I've been able to network with. A lot of people I've been able to meet, and that's a great process, But it also goes along with us understanding that even as African Americans in our own communities, we're too busy leaving our communities. We're too busy saying, okay, I got rich, I'm gone. I got a better job, I'm out. We have to start beginning to say, you know what, hold on a second. Let me turn around. Let me buy that lot across the street. Let me buy that lot up the street. You know, and I say for myself, being from Chicago, my eye is already on Inglewood in Chicago. Inglewood is kind of like a, I don't know, it's a place within the city that just has open lots all over the place because things are just ran down and tore up. You know, they call it a bad side of the city, but I was talking to a guy, and this is a white guy. I was talking to a white guy, and he was like, "Oh no, Inglewood is like," he said, "That's just," he said, "People don't realize it. That's a multi-million-dollar property on every lot. It's a multi-million because they think about, and he's in real estate. He said they never think about it. It's cheap right now, but the prices, everything around it is so high. People gonna want to find a lower place to live at. If you buy now while it's low, you can make your own price when people want to buy into it." Because they're gonna build, and it's kind of like a process. What he told me, says it's kind of like this process that one place is high, the other place is low, but that one place becomes so saturated being high, people trying to find a lesser place to live. So it becomes kind of like a process that goes around a circle of how things begin to happen. Okay, Patricia, just send me a message. Definitely. Tiffany Brown is on here. Tiffany Brown, she does real estate. She's doing truck driving and real estate. I talked to her about real estate, and it's that type of thing that we don't understand. That real estate, especially in the cities, yeah, buy your block. That's right. That becomes within your city is that what happens is that even a place that's nice, people still trying to find another place to live, right? So it becomes kind of like a round robin effect of how one place is built up, next place is built up, but that place go down, and it just keeps circling itself. And it's kind of like what's the city I'm in right now, how that's what's happening. I tell people all the time, I say, I like the south side of this city. The city I'm in right now, no, I won't say Phoenix City, Alabama, but I like the south side of the city. There isn't a McDonald's on this side of the south side of Phoenix City, right? Phoenix City, Alabama. There isn't a McDonald's. I'm right next to Columbus, Georgia. There isn't a McDonald's over there. There's a Dollar General, but there's no McDonald's. How do you not have McDonald's on that side of the city? But what I realize this, as the city is building up this part of the city, at some point they're gonna hit the city line, right? And they're gonna become oversaturated. They're gonna go so far north, so far east, and that's it. Because the river's right here, you can't build on the river. You can't build on a river. So what happens is that at some point the city's gonna start trying to push back to the south side of the city. I'm buying property on the south side of the city, and I'm developing that property on the south side of the city. Yes, I'm putting up 100, 200, $300,000 homes. Why? Because I see long term. I see it long term. I see what's going to happen long term is that when the city begins to push back on the south side of the city and this property that I own, now what's the city going to pay for that property? Sometimes 3 times as much. Why? Because now developers want to come in and really develop that side of the city, because as the city grows, what else grows? Economic dollars start to flow. And that's the process of real estate. If you own it, if you own the land, people, I'm telling you, ladies and gentlemen that's on here, get you a piece of land. Start with one property. Start, and I mean, like I said, I do the journey together. That's why Dewan, the Hood Investor Brian, because it's investing in the hood. But as I'm taking on the journey of me buying these properties, I'm starting my first one. It's run down. I'm gonna take you through the highs, the lows of it. I'm gonna record them on Facebook. I want you guys to tune into my YouTube channel, Dewan, the Hood Investor Brian, on YouTube. And it's just about, just not the motivational speaking part that I do for my military background, but it's also this step into the future of us being able to share, network, and communicate. Everybody that I get that's invested, that want to be investors or investing, what the heck? I don't know. My computer, my phone keeps saying I don't have enough space, so I don't know what it's doing. Hopefully it don't keep doing that, but I might have to delete some videos off of that I have and put them on YouTube and continue that way. But like I said, I'll try to get on here I'll try to be on here for 30 minutes. If it keeps doing that, I just have to delete that stuff that's on there. But being able to truly understand that just in the aspect of things of where we stand at. Okay, messengers. This thing, I really ain't got no space in this phone no more. But like you say, Crystal Maverick, get with me, man. Crystal Maverick, get with me. Just contact me. I'm interested in property too. What's that? Patricia Bryan, definitely get with me. Got the same name, Patricia, last name Bryan. You part of Bryan Tree. Tiffany, me and Tiffany already talked about real estate. But what I want to do is create just a network of people who are really interested in property, who are really interested in sharing knowledge, sharing experiences, because every property have a different process to it. From wholesaling to just investing to buying whole to buying flip, whatever it is. But also in that networking community, it's people who sharing their experiences of going from. I'm still in my process to get my first property. So from the first property on up to how many other properties that you want to get. But it's about sharing that knowledge, sharing one another. I definitely believe in sharing the wealth and sharing one another, because if we begin to take that process and that understanding of what it means to own real estate, it's just not about the ownership saying, I own real estate, but also the long-term effects that it create. It creates a wealth effect. And I'm going to tell you why. I sat down with a friend of mine, and from the military, him and his friends, they're doing like a $5 million apartment complex deal right now. $5 million apartment complex deal. But the residual off of that is even greater, because that residual goes years and years and years, right? So this is what the guy told me. He said, listen, you think about it. You get a property. The mortgage on the property may be $500-$600. You're charging $1,000-$1,100 of rent. So that's $400 or $500. Let's say $500 a month that you're getting to your pocket after you pay mortgage. That $500 a month times 12 months is what? $6,000. That's off of one property. But let's say like this. Let's say if you had 5 properties like that, that's $30,000 that of money that you're getting, a flow of income that you're getting that you have not done anything for. And here's the thing he told me. What's up, Andrew Smith? Hey, he told me this. What's up, Jason? How you doing? Tayon, what's up, brother? Robert Torres, I see you. Thank you. Thank you for tuning in. This is what he told me. He says we don't never think about the process of residual income, and we never think about the process of cash flow. Wealthy people always look in ways that money can flow to them. They're not doing a lot of work for. And he said that's real estate. And he wasn't bragging, but he showed me his car, showed me his house, and he said I don't pay for any of this. He said the money that I make off of everything I do, he's retired military. He said that goes in my pocket. He says I travel with that if I want to travel. But everything else that I get, for my tenants paying for this, my tenants pay for my car note, my tenants pay for my house note. My tenants have almost paid his house off. His tenants have done that, not him, his tenants. And we got to think that same type of thing is cash flow, and really becoming wealthy and understand that the opportunities are here to not just build wealth, but really create wealth that flows over. That means that the day we pass away, that money, that cash flow goes over into our children's hands. And I'm gonna give you an example. Walmart, right? The originators or the founders of Walmart, I don't think they're alive no more, right? So who's managing the company now? The children are, right? Or the great grandkids are, right? They was able to build a business that cash flow came in, but also they passed on. Why? Because they own the business, right? We could think of let's think of real estate. Let's think of John Hancock. John Hancock, they do real estate and stuff like that too. No longer alive, but the name is still there. But guess who owns this? Who still own the company, the business, and the property procedures? The family is. The great grandkids is. It's that same process, man. If you're trying to really change a community, you have to own the community. A community that does not own itself cannot change itself. It's like this. If we sit in the community, we say we want to do things in the community that's going to be better for the community, but you don't own property in the community. You don't own the business in the community. That means that every time the money goes in to the community, it goes right back out the community. Why? And I'm just going to give you an example. A lot of African American communities, we have Asian nail salons, we have Asian Chinese stores, we have all this other stuff, other ethnicities that own business in our communities, right? We go to them, we do business transactions, or we give them money because they don't give us nothing back. They can't give them money. but they never reinvest back in the community. So what it becomes a sucker of blood. It's like them blood suckers, right? Just sucking blood out of the community, just sucking it out of the community, right? And then you wonder why their communities look beautiful, because that money they suck out of our community, they take their community and they build a nice park, they build a nice health center, they build a nice gymnasium, they go and build a multi-billion-dollar school, and then you look at why they say, well, we don't want you in our community, but they'll definitely come back over your community with a business, also give us some more money. We have to start thinking about in the process that don't just be givers of your money. Understand a return needs to come off your money. And I'm gonna make this example. If when we look at Hispanic, Latino, African American communities, and we look at things in the way it is, I want to tell you this. 2016, we consumed, African Americans by itself as a community, we consumed over $1.2 trillion of goods in this country. Consumed over $1.2 trillion. That's a T, trillion dollars, not a B, because we know what a B is. 1 billion, 2 billion. We consume $1.2 trillion in the United States of America. Now just think if we did that business within our own communities, did that business with each other. Even if we did 10% of that, we begin to lift up our own communities, make our own communities better, be able to secure our own communities well. And then more important than that, we give our young people jobs. We got them out here committing crimes, robbery, shooting each other, selling drugs, something. Why do you think they're doing that? I'm gonna tell you why. When I was a kid and I sold drugs because I wanted money. I sold drugs because I wanted money. That's it. And that's why they're not selling drugs. They know it's wrong. They're not selling drugs because it's the hip thing to do. They sell it because you know what? It's the fast way to make money. If they were selling drugs for water, they wouldn't even be doing it. I can drink water for free from the faucet. When we begin to change our mindset, we can change our communities. But we first have to accept that we need to own property, own businesses, own a residual cash flow that revolves around our community. Asians' dollar revolve around their community 31 days. 31 days before it goes out. I think Jews are 25 days, something like that. 25, 24 days, Jews' dollar circulate, right? Caucasian dollar circulate around 16 days, something like that. 16, 17 days, somewhere over there. African American, listen to this. African American dollar circulate within our community 1 hour before it goes out. Listen to me now. 1 hour, which means that we don't own jack crap in our own communities because our dollar goes out immediately to somebody else's hand. That doesn't even care about investment into our own community. We have to change that. We change that by each one of us taking a commitment and a really mental effort and saying, you know what, I'm going to start looking for properties in my own community, even if it's just open lots. Start the lowest thing, open lots. I'm going to buy that open lot. Why? Because if I own land, listen to me now, you own land, banks are more, not just banks, but I have a packet of lenders. Okay, that's my data warning. But I think I'm not high on data. But I have a packet of data that banks, that lenders, that want you to develop land, that want you to do this, right? Because it's a win-win for the bank. They're gonna take the land because you can't pay for it, or you're gonna pay them back with interest, so they're gonna make money regardless. But when you own land, when you own something, it's easier to go to the bank and say, this is what I want to do. I want a loan so I can build a duplex on here, and we'll walk through the whole process of putting the business plan together because I have a network of people who help do business plans for property, help do business plans on duplexes. So we used to see how much money you're gonna be able to get back, how much you're gonna pay. That's all the bank want to see if they're getting their money back. Something that's solid, a business plan. I have people in my network that help me with that. That sat down honestly and shared it with me. And they say, just come back to me if you need some advice. I mean, come back to me anytime. Call me. You know, I got a guy, he say, call me. You call me 2 o'clock in the morning. I call him 2 o'clock in the morning. He'll get up and talk to me about 2 hours about property in real estate because it's his passion. He loves it. He said, I don't mind sharing it with you. And I'm sharing it with you as well. You know, and you're right. We come together more to make that stuff happen. But we can definitely do it. But it comes, as well, Alexis, to a focus of us start focusing on doing that. Right here in Columbus, right there in Columbus, Georgia, right here in Phoenix City, right there in where you in Kentucky, Tiffany. You know, it can be done. We can do it. But we have to take that effort And that understanding that if we're going to do it, then we have to understand the process. And I tell you all the time, I say the one thing I want you to do, I want you to go back over your bank statements. Same thing I did. Go back over all your bank statements. I mean, if I don't know how personal you is or whatever like that, but if you want me to sit down with you, I'll help you. I did a column for how much came in. I did a column for retail. I did a column for with how much money I was drawing. I did a column for food, a column for eating out, a column for bills, and a column for miscellaneous stuff. I didn't know what was spent on. And we can do those columns. We can do those, and we can start going through each month and writing down where that money was going to. And I guarantee you, when at the end of that, we start I add up at 6 months, I add up, and I add up again in 6 months. When we start doing things like that, that's when we begin. What's up, Glad Money? How you doing, brother? It's another veteran. That's when we begin to understand how we can go about now owning our own communities, because it's possible. Investing in property is right before our face, but we have to take an approach to it that's serious and say, okay, let me check myself and where I'm spending money. Now take that same money and put that somewhere else. Put that in the real estate, right? If I spent 15 grand, $15,000, $15,000 on eating out. I'm kind of fat now, not the military, but I spent $15,000 on eating out in retail. Yes, I like to dress, I like to shop, I like to eat. But guess what? Some gonna have to give, because at the end of the day, I don't like being poor. I don't want to be poor. And thank you, Uncle Sam, put me in a position where I don't have to be poor, and I appreciate it. But also put me in a position where I can share my brothers and sisters. We don't all have to be poor. Cause I mean, you can be wealthy. Everybody can be a whole bunch of money, but you're gonna spend so much money in this lifetime anyway. So share the wealth. Let other people become wealthy too. There's nothing like having a party where everybody in there making 6 figures. Nothing like having a nice party where everybody in there making 6 figures. And here's the thing I tell people, I say, when we as an African American community, when we can start sitting down and having conversations about financial management, financial investments, real estate, business ownership, when we can start sitting down, talking about our credit, when we can start having honest conversations like that, and it's we can sit down and talk about basketball and football for hours. When we can sit down and start having those type of conversations honestly and transparently, then we're getting somewhere. Because now we know that not only we're not no longer ashamed, but we're learning. We're learning, and we're excited about being in better positions. We're excited about improving our credit. My credit jacked. I think my credit now is up to 6. I think the lady said my highest score is 621 right now. And my score was already down to 400 something, because I was not paying. I didn't care. And when I didn't care, I was not putting a lot of attention into the areas that mattered, until I began to say, you know what? Until I started getting rejected by myself, I was like, well, why am I getting rejected? And then the person I went with said, because your credit. I pay off my stuff now. I'll tell you the process of getting your Tiffany Brown. We can do that. We can definitely do that. And like I said, I try to hold them here, and I do some of that right now in Columbus, Georgia, and getting certain individuals together. And sometimes here's Tiffany. Sometimes that process is so hard, because it's hard to get people to get out of that slave mind mentality. Oh nah, man, that ain't nothing but a gimmick. That's a gimmick. That ain't a gimmick. And I say it's a gimmick to own property. It's a gimmick to understand residual income. It's a gimmick to understand investments. It's so much stuff out here. People don't even know it. Like I tell people, I ask the person this, and I say, what company you with as far as your cell phone? He said, he was Sprint. I said, okay. I say, so when you pay your cell phone bill, do Sprint send you a check for you paying your cell phone bill? He said, nah. I said, okay. I said, so who sends you a check for paying your cell phone bill? And he told me, nobody. So I told him, I said, I work with a company in Concord, North Carolina right now, who pays you for paying your own bills. The gentleman sat before me and said, oh, that's a scam. I said, it's a scam if somebody pays you for paying your cell phone bill, but it's not a scam for you to pay your cell phone bill and you making somebody else wealthy. That's a scam. And he's like, nah, man, I ain't got time for that. That's a scam. I'm not interested in that. I left it alone. Because that slave mind mentality, we're going to keep that brother in the same seat where he's at. It's going to keep him poor. It's going to keep him at the poverty level. It's going to keep him trying to find out when next he's going to work, paycheck to paycheck. And we got to get out of this type of mentality. I work with a company right now that pays you for paying your own bills. Why? Because you become a owner, IBO within the company itself. And I didn't know nothing about that until somebody shared with me. A gentleman out of Atlanta, who a software engineer. He was already making 300 grand a year, 300 grand a year before he got into this company, into this business. And we met at a fashion show, sat down talking, and he shared it with me. And instantly I thought about it. I said, damn. I said, well, I'll pay my cell phone bill, I'll pay my light bill. We do, like I said, that's not, I don't share it with so many people, but I need to start sharing it more this year. Is cell phone, electric, energy, DirecTV, Dish, merchant services, and it's crazy because when he shared it with me, I wasn't a person that rejected it. I wasn't I didn't reject it. I said, man, so how that go? Tell me more about it. He's like, oh, you really interested? I said, yeah, because I pay my cell phone bill every month. I pay my electricity bill. I pay my cable, my satellite, my internet, and all that stuff. I pay them too. Tell me how I can begin to start getting money back off of me paying my own bills. I share it with people, and people don't understand how real it is, but it's real. It is so real. It's I don't mind paying my bills, and I make sure I pay my bills not only on time but before time because I want that check come back to me, right? It's that type of stuff that we got to start. We got to start opening my mind. Everything is not a gimmick. Everything is not some type of scam. And I'm gonna tell you something that at our level of income that we're bringing in, we don't make enough money to people who are making these $1 million scams even looking our way. You don't make enough. You don't make $500,000 or more a year for me to even waste my time with you. And we got to understand that. But at the same time, understand there are opportunities out here, real estate, network marketing, all that stuff that we can be able to get into and start to understand that these things are real. People are making a lot of money off of them. They're securing their financial future, not only for themselves, but for their children. Real estate. And that's the same process, man. When God was talking about me about real estate, I had to really understand that. Tiffany Brown, I'll sign you up. I mean, I don't have a problem. I'm gonna get with you. I'm gonna get with you about it, Tiffany. If you're very serious, let me know. I'm gonna definitely get with you about it because everybody on here pay bills. But the real estate process of what we're talking, what we really want to get to understand is that when I drove around. Where my book at? I drove around the other day. I found 10 properties that were abandoned or beat up or debilitated. How do you want to put it? Yeah, crowdfunding and purchase an apartment. That's right, Tiffany. That's what I'm talking about. Is those type of things right there. Crowdfund. People, a gentleman here named oh my God, what's his name? I just had his name. He's a pastor here, but he does pastor work type of thing. But he's in the business that I do as well, as far as get paid paying your own bills as well with ACN. But he also does crowdfunding. We met one day at a library. He told me about crowdfunding. He said, this is real. And I sat down and I did some research. I'm like, man, this is something else. The government does crowdfunding. Matter of fact, the school right here in Columbus, Georgia, CSU just did crowdfunding for $300,000. Just off of what they showed the public. $300,000 they got. And it just, those type of things right there, man. So, like I don't want to really waste a lot of people's time on here. I know it's late at night, people get ready to go to bed, stuff like that. I've been on for 43 minutes. But if you're interested in property, if you're interested in real estate, if you're interested in changing your financial position, and you are ready to do something better, bigger, and different, contact me. I already got some people. Patricia, I'm gonna contact. Tiffany on here contacting. Me and Tiffany already talked. Alexis, I'm gonna contact you and put you in on the where. Let's see. Who else? There was another person on here. Patricia. Crystal Maverick, I'm going to contact you as well. I'm going to contact you also because I want to. Not only do I want to share the information of the process I got, but we can sit down and we can talk about it. We can sit down. Do it. It's, and I guarantee you, I don't care what city you in, what town, there are always going to be debilitated properties, right? So I don't want to be on here too much longer. Let's see, it's 40. I need to probably erase some of these videos too, but. I appreciate you all time. I really do. I thank you for listening to me. I'm going to be back on here tomorrow. Matter of fact, I'm probably like drive around, little later. I'll be another property tomorrow as well. But I might even get on Facebook Live on that property and push that property out as well, and let you guys see as I walk through this property and what we're looking at, if we do it tomorrow or not. So just let me know what you all think. Please comment. Please send me messages, text, whatever. Let me see. I'll put my number in the scroll. Here's my number. I'm put my number in a scroll here. Also, gonna put my email in here as well, so you can email me if you want to, and I'll also put my my YouTube. My YouTube is this is my YouTube. DeJuan the Hood Investor, right? So, right? Oh, you've been on 3 hours? Okay. So, I'll definitely get back with everybody tomorrow. Those are things you can contact me at, from my number to my email to also my YouTube, DeJuan the Hood Investor. Just go in there and look for me and subscribe, because like I say, we can do this thing. We can definitely do this, but I'm about sharing the wealth with everybody, walking through everybody through the process. We can get together as a group and go around and find properties and start doing property analysis, the after property value, all that stuff. Because I think there's no such thing as a bad property. No such thing as a bad property. Why? Because property is land, and no matter where you got land, they ain't building more land. So no such thing as a bad investment in property. Period. So I appreciate you all. I'll talk to you, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow. Y'all have a blessed night. Thank you. Bye bye.